Hello and welcome NTCC and welcome to my Jumpstart kids. I hope you are all having a wonderful and toasty week. It is getting pretty hot out there and I want you to know this shirt is not made for summer. So I do have some very tough decisions to make, and that is, do I continue wearing this? Or do I find a lighter version? Or maybe more air conditioning. I think more air conditioning will be preferable, but, what are you going to do? You don't always get what you want. But with that being said, I want to talk to you about Daniel. So I don't know how much you guys know about Daniel, but Daniel happens to be considered one of the greatest Old Testament prophets. Basically, God told him a lot of stuff about the future, and he wrote it down in some of his books. Daniel being one of the books that he wrote, and I think he wrote some stuff in Ezekiel, maybe. You know what? I'll find out for you guys, and I'll tell you next week. So, basically, Daniel, he was a young man living in Israel. I know we have talked about the Israelites, but the Israelites were God's chosen people back before Jesus was ever born. And it was their job to actually tell all the other nations about God. And sometimes they did a better job than others. So I don't know about you, but sometimes telling people about Jesus can be really hard. It's sometimes you get a little embarrassed and other reasons, but, unfortunately, the Israelites, they made some mistakes too. And I think what's really cool about that is it shows us that even when we do make mistakes, God still loves us and God still wants to use us for his plans. So, anyway, back when Daniel was a young man, probably around in his teens. He might have been like 16, 15 years old, maybe even younger. His country of Israel got taken over by another country. And what this country did is they took all the smart people and they brought them over back to their country. So think about it like, they all went to the better school. I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up, there was a private school that all the smart kids went to. Well, think of it kind of like that. And Daniel was taken to the smart kid school, or really the smart kid private school. And but of course, Daniel didn't want to go because he had to leave all his friends behind, and it was very sad. But Daniel, he knew what the Bible said about God, and he was actually teaching some of the other kids there. And in one way that he taught was with food. So, I got a question for you. What's better for you? Like a bunch of French fries or vegetables? I'll give you a second to think about it. French fries, vegetables. Well, French fries are made out of potatoes, so they're kind of like a vegetable, right? No. I think we all know vegetables are very good for us, but they don't always taste very good. But, I don't know about you. Maybe you like vegetables. I don't know. Maybe you should tell us what is your favorite vegetable. And, I don't know. Maybe we'll have a vegetable party at Jumpstart where we just eat vegetables. How's that sound? Sounds like a fun party? Just vegetable eating party? Maybe not. Who knows? That doesn't matter. Okay, so Daniel, he gets to Assyria. And he's told there by all the people that you need to eat the food that they're given. The problem was some of the food that Daniel was given actually was against what God had told him to eat. And you can basically say that God told Daniel and some of the Israelites to only eat fruits and vegetables. And where he went, they wanted Daniel and his friends to eat meat and other stuff. And Daniel basically said, no. I know what you're thinking. They offered Daniel Chick-fil-A. I know. Yes, that's right. I brought some props in, and a delicious Chick-fil-A sandwich. So good. But wait. God told Daniel not to eat it. Uh-oh. I guess I wasn't as strong as Daniel. But Daniel, he stood his ground. Daniel told them, guys, Bible says, and God told me, I can only eat vegetables. I know what you're thinking. Vegetables are, I mean, listen, maybe you like vegetables. And if you do like vegetables, eat a lot of them. But Daniel's sitting around the table, and they give him a whole bunch of food, and he can't eat it. I know. But here's the funny part. I think this is the really cool part, really, is that God helps us make wise decisions. Okay, Daniel could have very easily ate whatever food they got. Okay, and who here knows that you have to eat food? Right? You have to eat some food. That's just the way God made us. If we don't eat food, well, we won't do very good, right? You know, get real skinny and stuff. But that didn't matter. Daniel said, listen, I'm only eating what God told me to eat. So, you know what they did? They didn't argue with them. They said, you know what? We're going to see who's stronger and who's better off. So they had a bunch of kids from the Assyria, and they had a bunch of kids from Israel. Matter of fact, I don't know if you've heard the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but they actually were there with Daniel, and they didn't eat the food either. And, I guess it was Babylon then. Doesn't matter. So, they had a choice. Eat whatever food you want, and then we'll have a test. Who's stronger, who's faster, and who's smarter? Well, I don't know about you, but I think we know where this is going to end, right? That's right. Daniel and his friends, they only ate fruits and vegetables. And after a couple months, they did some tests. And they found out that Daniel and his friends were stronger, were healthier, and even smarter than all the other kids. So they realized that, you want to know what? Maybe Daniel has, he knows what he's talking about. So, what I'm trying to say here now is that God helps us make really wise decisions. And not only does God help us make wise decisions, but guess who is like the smartest, most wisest person in the entire universe? I'll give you a little guess. It's God. Yes, that's right. God, he's really smart. He knows everything. And he knew that if Daniel and his friends ate the best food, the vegetables and the fruits, they'd be very healthy. So, does that mean that we only can eat, fruits and vegetables? No, that's not the case. But God did tell Daniel and his friends only to eat that. Okay? And God blessed Daniel and his friends with good health. So, what that really means is that we should have to trust the Lord, all right, and he'll take care of us. But God wasn't yelling at Daniel. He wasn't sitting there in front of the table, and God wasn't whispering to Daniel, "Psst, Daniel, don't eat the meat." Psst. Who here thinks God does that? I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun. God whispering over, "Hey, psst. Hey, Spence, psst." I think that'd be kind of cool. Let me just like fist bump me and God. Got it. I got it. Psst. Okay, good. All right, that's a little bit in my imagination, but I think it'd be cool. Okay, that's not how it worked. I'm sure there are plenty of times in your life you have a difficult decision to make. Everyone is telling you to do one thing, but you know that that's probably a bad idea. You know that your parents told you not to. If it's something that's wrong, or, if you're disobeying a teacher, any of those little things. Or, maybe it's you're supposed to finish your homework, but you lie about it and say you tell your parents you already finished it, right? These things are wrong, but, God's not whispering to you all the time, telling you not to do it. So, Daniel had to make a decision, right? He knew what God wanted him to do, and he made the wise choice into not eating all the extra foods. All he ate was the fruits and vegetables. And after eating the fruits and vegetables, he was even better for it. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is that we all know what is right and wrong, all right? Because God has taught us, and because our parents teach us. But you want to know who teaches your parents a lot of stuff? I'll give you a second to take a guess. That's right. God teaches your parents. So, what I'm trying to say is that as long as we trust the Lord will help us make very wise decisions. Okay? And if you ever want to know what's a wise decision, read your Bible. That's right. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible that helps us understand what to do and what not to do. Okay? And what it means to be wise. All right? So maybe the next time your friend is, really sad, maybe you'll be wise enough to know what to say or what not to say. And Daniel, that's what he did. While Daniel was sitting around the table eating, and everyone's eating all this delicious food, Daniel knew that he's only supposed to eat it. And Daniel made the wise decision to just eat the fruits and vegetables. And then God blessed him for it. Okay? So, what does that mean? God is very wise. All right? God knew what Daniel needed. But you want to know what? Daniel was also very wise too, because he knew what God wanted him to do. So, at the end of the day, remember, you know who knows best? God knows best. And you want to know who a lot of times teaches your parents? God. So, try and make the wise decision in listening to your parents and listening to what God has to say, and make those wise choices, because I'll bet you'll be a lot better for it. I mean, just think of this. You ever eat too many gummy bears and you get a stomach ache? That wasn't very wise, was it? No. You knew better. So, remember, Daniel was wise because he listened to the Lord. And you can also be wise by listening to the Lord and your parents. All right? So you guys have a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you guys very soon. Because believe it or not, we should see you at church very, very soon. All right. Everyone take care and have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, morning, whatever time you're watching this. I'll see you later.